Okay, it's 6:02. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay. So welcome coaches to our spring 2024 coach season, our coach orientation. Moving right along. Thank you for being here. Quick introduction about myself. My name is Joshua Schwartz. I'm the coach administrator and coach instructor here at 1463. Been a volunteer since 2016 and involved with the board since 2018. Also, the area are coach instructor since 2023. Um, I wear a few hats, not as many as some of our other board members, but I am definitely an awesome guy. Um, I'm also a photo bomb extraordinaire, as you can see from those top photos. I like to have fun out there, so I will photo bomb you. If you see me lurking, I'm probably up to no good. I also have photo bomber in training. Another one of our board members, Krista. You can see her in that middle picture. So nobody is safe. All right, you all should have got the notification, but in case you didn't, this whole thing is being recorded. If you do have any questions during the presentation, you can like write them down, and we'll definitely have time for open questions at the end. You can also use the chat feature. Um, and then if it's a relevant question, we have people standing by to answer those questions. But do us a favor, and a lot of your questions probably will get addressed throughout the presentation. So if we've gone through that subject and we haven't answered your questions, then feel free to put them in that chat and we'll get them answered for you. All right, so this is all the stuff we're going to be going over in this presentation. Um, so let's get going. So anything you do with AYSO, as all of you coaches know, start with the AYSO vision, AYSO mission, and the six philosophies. AYSO vision is to provide world-class youth soccer programs that enrich children's lives. That's bold and underlined. Those three words are probably the three most important words to you as an AYSO coach. Enrich children's lives. So how do we accomplish that vision? Is through our mission to develop and deliver quality youth soccer programs, which promote a fun family environment based on our six core philosophies. Everyone plays. So AYSO National requires every player to play at least 50% of each game. In our region, we've upped that requirement. It's 75% or three-quarters of each game. Balanced teams, we do everything we can to create balanced teams. We don't like to see one team with a powerhouse, all the powerhouse players blowing out every other team, or one team with all the weaker, newer players that are losing every game. So we do a lot of things, including player evaluations, coach evaluations for their players to do everything we can to create balanced teams. Open registration is simple. It just means you can live anywhere and play anywhere in AYS. So if you live in LA and want to play in Marietta, you can. There's no location restrictions on where you can register and play AYSO soccer. Positive coaching is something we definitely focus on. Coaching using positive messages and tone while building their soccer skill development and enriching children's lives. Good sportsmanship, be good winners, be good losers. That goes from everyone, players, coaches, referees, and parents. Required to show good sportsmanship all times. And player development. Of course, we all want to win. Winning is great. It's fun. It's exciting. But what we're really focused on is the development of the players. So there we are. We're one small part of a greater whole at AYSO. We are part of Section 1, Area R. These are some of the other regions that are in our area. Some of the older division teams will be playing um, some of these other regions. So anytime you do any AYSO function, remember you're in the kid zone. The kids are number one. Um, Fun is everything, not winning. Make sure the fans are only cheering, not coaching. The coaches should only be the one coaching. Obviously, no yelling. That goes with positive coaching. Respect the referees, especially. That's good sportsmanship. Um, no swearing, alcohol, anything like that allowed. No weapons. clean up after yourselves. Um, Definitely good sportsmanship, and always celebrate the player, win or lose. So, that was easy. All right, throwing the ball to Carlos Torres, our amazing volunteer coordinator and the mayor and governor of Marietta. You have the con, Carlos.
True, but okay. Hey guys, I'm Carlos Torres. I'm the volunteer coordinator. Most of you know me already. I'm sure I've spoken to you on the phone this season and or in previous seasons. But anyway, so let's go over the volunteer program. So what is an AYSO volunteer? An AYSO volunteer, I'm sure you know, I've told you guys or mentioned it to you guys many, many times. AYSO is a 100% volunteer organization. No one, including the board members, myself, Josh, Jaime, Omar, all the executive board members, and general board members, nobody gets paid. We do it so that the kids can enjoy the sport of soccer and so that the families and parents can enjoy watching their kids play the sport of soccer in a very organized and efficient manner, right? So that's why we all do this. And obviously, we want to help our communities and get our kids out there playing soccer instead of, just being indoors playing video games all day and stuff. So, um, anyway, so at AWAS volunteer can be pretty much anything. We take as much or as little help as you can give us that you're willing to donate and sacrifice your time during the week. And can you go back, Josh? Sorry, one thing.
Oh, my bad.
Sorry, no worries. Um, so we'll take as much time or as little time as you can give us. You'll see as I go through the presentation the many ways that not only yourselves are obviously providing support, but then you need to get your parents on your teams also participating and helping us out. You guys are being the head coach and assistant coaches, so we ask that the teams also provide support within the region on every given week and stuff. So yeah. So without the volunteers, the region cannot function. I wish that we could coach all 64 teams, but there's no way we can do that. So that's why we ask for coaches. And then obviously there's a lot of roles throughout the region and throughout the season that we need to be filled by volunteers like yourself. And again, anyone can be a volunteer. It could be someone's mom, dad, brother, sister, uncle, friend. Anyone can do it. Anyone who's willing to provide support to a region, anyone can do it, right? So now there are some caveats to that. Anyone who is involved directly with the kids, for example, head coaches and assistant coaches, those do have to be certified. Take the certification classes, as you guys are already aware of. You guys are doing it now or have completed it. So, but other roles that we'll talk about later don't necessarily require that. So, anyways, go ahead, Josh. So volunteers can be coaches, like I said, assistant coaches, referees. Referees are not paid. Again, everyone in AYSO is a 100% volunteer organization. So referees are not paid. Assistant referees or ARs, again, not paid. They're all volunteers from the organization. We do have youth referees. So if there's kids out there 12 and older that would like to get some volunteer hours for high school or school, they're more than welcome to become a referee. We do provide mentorship for our youth referees and all referees actually, but definitely for youth referees, we offer mentorship so that they should not be scared or afraid to do it. And then we do also have our special needs program, the EPIC program. So we do need EPIC buddies as well. And those are just a few volunteer roles that you can do. Go ahead, Josh. So as always, we always want to make sure we respect the volunteers, especially the referees. I don't want to go too much into the referee program because that is another section of our presentation here, but definitely you'll hear from all of us, including when you guys are out there, when we're out there, always respect the referees. The referees are volunteers just like you and I are. So we always want to be kind and respectful to the referees. So I always tell people that no one, including myself, are perfect, right? So we make mistakes. I make mistakes on a regular basis. I don't intend to. It happens, right? If we miss a call or it's a perceived bad call, but we was always, especially as coaches and assistant coaches, must always be respectful of our volunteers, of our referees. So please remember that. And of course, always remind your parents on your team the same thing. The other thing too is parents should always be cheering, right? They're not supposed to be on the sideline coaching. Again, we'll talk about a lot about this, but the main thing is that they are the parents, you are the coach, the referee is in charge of the game. Let the referee be the referee, right? So if you ever get upset about anything or they get upset about anything, they should get up, walk away, and come back and calm down. So always respect the volunteers. Continue. So as you know, like I said, to be a volunteer head coach or assistant coach, there are certifications that do have to happen. Again, those roles have to happen with certification. Referees is another one. So referees, head coaches, assistant coaches, board members, all those have to be certified, right? So I'm not going to go through all of them, but as you know, there's Safe Haven, CDC Concussion, Safety, Safe Sport. all those things that you have to do, coach certifications and stuff. All that stuff has to be done. The one important key point I am going to remind you about this is that all this has to be completed before you're allowed to interact with the kids, right? So pretty much before most of you are pretty much almost complete. Um, we want it to be complete before you get your roster, right? So, but definitely, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Jaime, you will not be allowed to interact with any of the kids until all your certifications are complete. So I will give you a green thumbs up. You're good. You're certified. You're free to actually start practicing. But until you get those certifications, you're not going to be able to practice with those kids. Same for assistant coaches. I know that some of you don't have assistant coaches, and that's okay. They have to go through the same certification process you have to go to. Once they're completely certified, is when they will be allowed to interact with the kids. Up until that point, they are not allowed to interact with the kids, right? So only certified head coaches or assistant coaches are allowed to practice with the kids. And at any point, anytime, parents are not allowed to be on the practice field only if they have completed the certification and or an assistant coach or a head coach. So please keep that in mind. So you can't just have random parents helping you out practice or whatever. Okay, that is not allowed. Go ahead, Josh. So again, another role that it's super important. You can see the picture on here, a picture of most of us or some of us here. Um, we definitely need board members. Now, being a board member, I don't want to scare you or anything like that. Does not mean that you have to be there all day. It does not mean that you have to be, 100% involved. It just means you have to provide a little more support than normal, right? Again, all of us are all volunteers. No one gets paid. We do it again for making sure that the kids play in an organized fashion and that the parents and families and yourselves can enjoy it, right? So we put a lot of time and effort. Jaime Vencia is our regional commissioner. He does an amazing job of keeping us all organized. But there's so many executive board members and board members that actually provide a lot of support that just really actually makes this region super fun and super great place to play soccer in. So, but those are the board member positions we have. Some of them we definitely need some more help when it comes to the division coordinators on there. We need a sponsorship board member. We need a fundraising board member. There's a lot of positions that if you're interested in and would like to be more involved, to be behind the scenes and see how things happen, how decisions are made, everybody brings an input and we grow from that, right? So if you're interested, please let me know or let one of us know. And then we'll steer you in the right direction and you're always welcome to come help us and join our board. Continue, Josh. Okay, that's the volunteer program in a nutshell, right? So now, on top of that, what we did was we created a program called the volunteer point system, right? On the volunteer point system, go ahead and push the slides, Josh. The volunteer point system was created for a simple reason, right? It was created so that more people are involved within the region to make the region more successful. Well, obviously, the more people provide support, the faster, better, quicker, more efficient things are going to run, right? So we created this point system, and the main overall thing is that every team, 8U and above, will make what we consider either an event or the playoffs, right? So Schoolyard and 6U do not participate in our end of the year tournament, right? And they don't necessarily have volunteer points, but we do ask that you provide support as much as possible. But definitely 8U, 10U, 12U, 14U, 16U, 19U, they are in the volunteer point system program. Each team must hit X amount of points per category in order to qualify for the end of the year or end of the season playoff tournament, which is called the Gem of the Valley Cup. Okay, so it's very important that you understand that. Every team must hit their volunteer points in order to qualify for the end of the season tournament. It does not matter what your record is. You could lose every game, and as long as you've met your volunteer point system requirement per category, you will be allowed to enter into the playoffs or the Gem of the Valley. Okay, super important. And the categories are tent duty. Let's go back. I'm sorry, real quick, Josh. Well, I guess that's the same thing. Don't worry. Tent duty, field lining, pictures, coach certifications, refereeing, referee certifications, helping with goal setup, and then becoming a certified team parent. You can have those. So go ahead, Josh. So here they are. And I will send this to you guys after the presentation. It'll be made available to you guys so you can understand it and read it and stuff. But I'm going through real quick. All head coaches have to be certified, and all head coaches have to be certified as a referee. Those are two main key points that have to happen for any chance of you guys actually making it to the playoffs. That, of course, is going to happen because unless you do that, there's no way you can actually practice with the kids. Then you also have referee points. And now again, 8U, 10U, 12U, 14U, 16U, 19U are required to provide referees for another game. They can't ref their own game, right? So your team cannot ref your own game, but you have to provide referee coverage for other games. And each division has their X amount of points they have to hit. Miscellaneous points, there's 10 points required for that, but that's simple things like field lining, doing extra tent duty, upgrading your certification from, let's say, 8U to 10U or 10U to 12U, stuff like that. Super simple. And then tent duty, 4 points are required. It's 1 hour per point. So essentially, throughout the season, we require 4 hours of tent duty for the entire season for your team. Super easy. Again, parents can do this. Sportsmanship points, those are super important. Every game, you're going to be rated from the referees. The referees will assess your sportsmanship in regards to how you conducted yourself, how your players conducted themselves, and how your parents conducted themselves during the match. You're rated from 1 to 5. If you're constantly questioning the referees, then you're going to lose points. If you are going to, if your parents are questioning the referees, you're going to lose points, right? So stuff like that. So you are required to make sure you conduct yourself in a very sportsmanship manner, and then making sure your parents and your teams do the same, right? So 1 to 5, and essentially you can only really miss like 3 or 4 points for the whole season. It's 8 games, so 8 times 5 points per game, that's 40 points. So you can only really lose like 4 points before you're disqualified from the playoffs, right? So it's super important. So there's zero tolerance when it comes to being disrespectful to the referees at any point. And then picture points, we ask that every team take pictures, right? Parents are there. This is something they can help you with. We ask that you take pictures in portrait mode, and I'll make sure I clarify that this year or this season, but take 4 action shots plus a pin winner. And I'm sure Josh will cover the pin winner in a later slide, but 4 action shots of the game and then the pin winner, and provide those 5 pictures on a weekly basis, right? So the easy way to do that is just assign a photographer for the week and have them email them to us, right? And then the player evaluations, that's something that I will send to you guys 2 to 3 weeks before the end of the season. And you'll fill out player evaluations on all your players, and you'll rate your players from 1 to 5 on 4 to 5 different categories. Super easy. It'll take you like 10 minutes to do it. We try to make everything as easy as possible for you guys. But those are all the things that you have to hit in the volunteer point system. Go ahead, Josh. And again, that's all designed so that the league runs efficiently, it provides support, and then everybody's involved. AYSO, again, is a volunteer organization, and the more people provide support, the more efficient and organized it can become. And you'll see, we'll be out there. I'm out there all day. Em is out there all day. Josh is out there all day. You'll see a lot of us out there. We just ask that your teams provide a little bit of support every week so that it makes it fun and enjoyable for everybody. There I am. There's my picture. There's my email. You guys, most of you have it already. I have 2 email addresses. You can send it to me. You can get to me on our website by hitting the volunteer portal. You'll see all my information there as well. You guys all have my number. I'm available to you guys 24/7, like I told you already. You can call me anytime, email me, text me, and I'll call you right back. You guys are there for the kids. I will be there for you guys. If you guys have any questions, feel free to either put it in the message or just text me or email me directly. I think that's it, right, Josh? For my
That's
part?
it. Yes, sir. Passing the baton.
All right. So, welcome everyone. Happy you could all join. I am here on behalf of Mauro Guerra. He unfortunately was unable to make the meeting tonight due to business travel. So I will be filling you in on the referee program. So next slide. Just as a reminder, we are part of the AYSO team. So the parents and coaches clearly spend the most time with the kids, but without referees, the team can't be formed. So what we want to make sure that we do going into the season is just make sure that all 3 of us work together to create a very positive experience for ourselves, but more importantly for the kids. All right, next slide. All right. So what is the role of the referee? We're responsible for enforcing the laws of the game and making sure that the game seems safe, fair, and fun. Right. And in divisions 8U and above, without a certified referee to officiate the game can't be played. And so regardless of how much effort you put into your game plans and all the great work you put into your practices, if we don't have a referee available to cover that match, the match doesn't happen. Now, fortunately, that doesn't happen very much here in our region, but it certainly is a challenge in other regions. but it is vitally important that we continue to grow our referee staff so that we have the people available to be able to cover those games. So I know everyone's getting their certifications. I've got 2 more classes coming this weekend for those of you that need to do that. Happy to escort you on that journey, excuse me, but also reach out to your parents. That's how I started as a referee. I didn't have the ability I wanted to coach, but my job wouldn't let me. And so I started refereeing, and now 16 years later, here I am still doing that, and I haven't had a child in the program in 10 years. So it's a great opportunity to watch the game. As a sports fan, being out in the middle of the field, seeing this play develop that you teach your kids to do, it's really exciting to see. So, do what you can to become part of our team of referees, and thank you. So again, this lead into this, we're always in need of referees. We can't have too many. It's good to have newer referees on staff so that our more senior referees can help you in our mentoring program to get you ready to be more effective and less nervous while you're out on the pitch, to have the confidence to be a referee. It's really that U8 and U10, it's really just managing a play date. It's really not that big a deal, and it gives you the opportunity to help work with those kids. So just as a reminder, U8 and above, we have to have a referee on those matches. As I mentioned earlier, we have 2 classes coming up this weekend on Saturday. I think we're going to beat the rain. So for the 6U and 8U coaches that are coming to the training in the afternoon, I set up a morning class for you so that you can get your certification taken care of as a referee and then roll into your class. And for you 10 and 12U coaches that need to get your certification that are taken care of in the morning, I set up the afternoon class for you so you can just roll in and take that. So please sign up. Last time I checked, I had 1 person signed up for the afternoon class. So I need to have a few more people come out so we can make the class engaging for everyone that shows up. As a reminder, youth referees are welcome. We will train them and mentor them to be available. So please, if you know of any youth that would be interested in coming out, please have them sign up. Next class. Which leads into the mentoring program. We're not going to leave you out there on your own. You're not an island. We're here as a village to make this whole region successful. We want all of our referees to be successful and have the confidence to go out and call a good game. So we will be there with you on the sidelines, available for questions and support during a match, provide you feedback at halftime and at the end of the match, and we will continue to work with you until you are comfortable in your role. So just remember, you're not going to be alone when you're out there. All right, next slide. And again, we do have youth referees. So if there's siblings of players that would like to become a referee, welcome any and all youth referees that would want to do that. Just as a reminder, they need to be 2 years older than the division that they would be refereeing in. So for U10, they'd need to be 12 years or older to be able to be a referee on that match or an assistant referee. They're fully supported by our mentoring program, and we have 0 tolerance for any kind of dissent towards a youth referee. So we're there. We've got board member presence constantly on the fields monitoring for that. So there should be no issues, and if any issues do surface, they'll be handled quickly. And I think that's it. So there's Mara's picture. If you have any questions, you can reach out to him. My email address is also on the website under the director of referee assessment. If you have any questions, please reach out. And if you have any questions on the field, just reach out to me, and hopefully can answer them. And looking forward to another good season.
Awesome. Thank you, Steve. Mr. Jim Simpson, you're up. Are you ready, buddy?
Yep, I'm ready.
All right.
All right. So as Josh said, my name is Jim Simpson. I'm the safety director and also help with the referee scheduling. So you'll see some emails from me, each week, reminding you to sign up for those referee to those matches and things like that, and to get that out to your parents as well. I started with AYSO, I think in like 2012 or 2013 when my oldest son was probably about I'm going to guess maybe a 10U player or 12U player. We came from a different region before that, and then have my youngest son that is now close to aging out. I started with the board, I believe, in 2017 or 18 as first just a division coordinator. Got started on the volunteer side refereeing for my oldest son, and just kind of got thrown into that. And that's where I started that volunteer journey, for me for AYSO. So been around for a little bit. Now I'm the safety director as well. So I'll give you some information here on the safety information. All right. And so we want to start with basically like the rain policy. One thing to keep in mind is that AYSO itself does not really have a cancellation policy due to rain. I mean, unless it rained so much that the field was very unsafe, that would be the only reason that we would stop a game because of rain. We've had some matches that have continued in the rain, and we've definitely played some in the rain at different courses or different regions. But one thing to keep in mind is that the city of Murrieta does want to limit how much damage that the fields get playing on wet conditions with the cleats, and all the traction can really damage the field. So they may close the parks, so that we have to follow those rules whenever we're determining if the fields are open and things like that. So not really a rain policy per se to stop, for rain unless it's unsafe, but we do have to follow the city policy most of the time. But one thing to keep in mind, whenever there's rain, oftentimes there may be thunder or lightning around play. So if that is occurring, play is immediately stopped, and everyone should seek, shelter to the best safe area. Most of the time, that's typically a car. And play cannot resume until at least 30 minutes after all thunder and lightning have stopped. So that's something that can be very unsafe out on the pitch for our players. So that's something to keep in mind if that you need to enforce in your practices. For a heat policy, if the day is deemed really hot, all games will be given an extra water break per quarter. So we won't stop the clock or anything like that whenever we're running those games. But we'll have a mid-quarter water break where the players that are on the field stay on the field and just get a quick drink of water. We usually try to do that for about 30 to 60 seconds and then resume play. So make sure that your parents know to bring lots of water on those hot days, on those days that you're practicing lots of hot days. And then you guys as coaches need to make sure that, you're providing plenty of water breaks on those days where, you're practicing and it's really warm like that. Okay. A few more safety notes to keep in mind. Carlos mentioned this earlier, but non-registered players and volunteers cannot participate in practices or games. Siblings cannot help during practices. At no point should basically an adult be on the field scrimmaging or doing anything on the field with the players. We want to make sure that we protect the safety of the players and abide by all of the policies that AYSO and our insurance carriers have on that. So that includes games with other adults or minors, including the coaches. So you should not really be participating in drills with them. Obviously you can have coaches being demonstration and things like that. You could have a registered, another registered volunteer be doing some demonstration, but if they're on the field with those players, then they need to be registered to do that. Club linesmen, if we ever have a situation where we have to use a club linesman because we do not have an assistant referee, one thing to keep in mind, if you're asking for that volunteer from your parents, is they're not covered by our insurance policies. So we may need to let them know that if we're asking for that from one of our, parents that are on the sideline for a game. We rarely have any instances where we don't have coverage for games with our referees. Like when I started refereeing, I was just thrown into 14U and 16U games right off the bat as a brand new referee, and that was crazy. I'd never even watched soccer hardly in my life except for watching my kids play. And the program now though has come so far, and just lots of training and lots of mentorship. So we don't really have this situation crop up, but that's one thing to keep in mind if it does. Parents do need to remain on the field at all times at practices with children that are at 10U age and under, so they cannot drop off and leave during any practice. If the parking area, is close by and they are in their car or near their car and not necessarily be right on the sidelines, that is fine. But for safety purposes at 10U and under, the parents cannot drop them off and leave the premises. Feel free to discuss any concerns with other coaches, with the region. If you have players with learning disabilities, encourage your parents. That may be something that you want to cover in your first meeting, that they can talk to you about any learning disabilities that they have, or talk to the league, and we can try to, make special arrangements if they need some accommodations. The region will work with those parents or work with you for anything that you need to help, accommodate those players. And then also one thing to keep in mind that's really important is there can be no clear identification of players. This is something that you should talk to the parents about whenever you are distributing uniforms. They cannot go and put like players' names on the back of the jerseys and things like that. We've had parents do that in the past, where they want to look like the professional players and things. But clothing, backpacks, if you have, backpacks that are part of like team issue, if you guys go together and purchase those for your kids, need to make sure that those do not have anything displaying player names for safety purposes. With your team banners, names are okay as long as those are, first name only, and then that name isn't specific to a jersey number. So you need to be very careful on your team banners about having a, player's name and jersey number together. I know a lot of people may, like that and think that looks good on a banner, but that's prohibited by our safety policies with AYSO. And then always remember that physical contact with a player is not allowed. Don't want to be given any back rubs, shoulder rubs, any hugs, things like that. That includes, grabbing their shoulders or their arms to move them around on the field, to show them where to go, anything like that. We can't have that physical contact. This can really open us up to some sort of possible safe sport, related violation. So that's something that we, just can't have occur. And then please keep in mind, and we need you guys to enforce this at practice so the parents don't get, used to doing this, and then they, have something different that comes into, comes into a rule whenever they're at the field just for our regular games. But no pets are allowed. So make sure that you cover with your parents that all pets need to be kept at home for all AYSO activities, including practices and games. Service animals are okay, but they do actually have to be a service animal. Emotional support animals are not covered under the Americans with Disabilities Act. So please remind your parents that they cannot bring pets to the field. That's very, very important. And we need that enforced at practices as well. And then, oh, sorry.
You need me to go back, Jim?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
My lights kind of went off in the car. I was on the way home from work, so I had to pull over to do this. There's my picture there. You can go to the safety page on our AYSO website. It has a lot of information. It also will have there's a downloadable form in case you have any injuries during practices or games that need to be reported. So, please look for that form. Make sure that you report any injuries that occur, and then send that form to, myself or to Jaime, and then we'll make sure that that gets forwarded on to national. We do have to disclose any injuries. Sometimes even if they're just what seems like a minor injury, or there may not be something wrong, we still have to make sure and fill out one of those incident forms and submit those in case that something comes from it. My email is listed there. And feel free to reach out for anything. Always happy to help.
Awesome. Thank you, Jim. So trucking right along, once again, my name is Josh Schwartz. I'm the coach administrator here. And let's keep on moving. All right, so the coach pledge. If any of you have been to any of my coach trainings, which a lot of you were last week, that was a great class, a good turnout. You should know what this coach pledge is. I'm not going to read it line by line, but basically, um, this is the guidelines that AYSO holds us to as coaches. They're really important to make sure you're adhering to these guidelines at all times. So coaches aren't the only people in AYSO that are held to that high standard. Players should be held to a standard too. It's important for your players to know this and understand it. Feel free to send this to their parents as well, so they know what you expect from them as players. And coaches and players aren't the only ones. Parents are expected to be held to a standard too. Obviously, you need to get the kids to and from practices and games, be on time. Obviously, be good sportsmanships on the sidelines. All of those things. Okay, so this is all important stuff. Everyone's held to a high standard, and remember, it's for the kids. We do all this for the kids. So communicating with your parents, this is super important. So once you get your rosters, more information coming on that later. You make sure you contact your parents right away. As soon as you get your rosters, start making phone calls. When you're on those phone calls, make sure you get any and all email addresses that they like to use via contact for the team. Make sure that they're checking their mail frequently. I like to over communicate. I generally communicate via a team app and email. But if you don't get any responses, pick up that phone again and call. You need to make sure that everyone is getting the information that you want to put out. And this no truer words have ever been spoken probably in the soccer world, in the coaching world. Good timely communication just saves us a lot of work and headaches in the end. Okay. And when you are emailing, make sure you use that BCC function. Some parents might not like everyone else seeing their email address. So when you are emailing, use that BCC function, right? And everyone here is highly encouraged to use the Game Changer app. It's a fantastic sports team app. You can do just about everything with it. You can load your practice schedules, your game schedules, and we'll talk more about the Game Changer app in a later slide. Okay, so more on communication. As Carlos talked about in the volunteer section, we do need division coordinators. We have a couple of positions open. Hopefully one of those is going to get filled very shortly, but we always need more. Okay, people don't stay around forever. We have to cycle through sometimes, and so we always need division coordinators. And of course, Jen Wadberg is my assistant coach administrator. So the key thing you want to know about division coordinators is they really should be your primary resource for coaches to communicate. So all of you 6U coaches, Alex Goodwin should be in your speed dial and in your email address book. The same thing with parents. Make sure your parents know who your division coordinator is. So they have any questions or issues that can't be handled between you as a coach and them as a parent. The division coordinator should be the next step, the next person that they reach out to. Okay. Part of what division coordinators do is they monitor coaches and teams, making sure everyone's on the up and up. They're not like keeping tabs on you or anything, but they're just making sure everything's good, making sure you're not having any issues or problems or questions. And that's what they're there for. So all of the contact info is on our board member page on our website. And like I said, make sure you send that info to your parents. Okay. Team names. Team names should be decided quickly as soon as you get your roster. A lot of coaches have the players, come up with a bunch of team names and maybe narrow it down to 2 or 3 and then take a vote. However you want to do it, but figure out your team names right away. It makes a lot of things easier in the beginning of the season. Some of the picture company items uses the team name, so that's a good reason to have it ready to go. And your rosters should be sent out next week. The goal is no later than Wednesday. So keep your eye on your emails. If you haven't gotten your roster by Wednesday, something probably came up, and we most likely would have communicated with you beforehand, telling you, hey, it's not going to be Wednesday, it's going to be Thursday. But just keep your eyes peeled on those emails for your rosters. Okay. Team banners. You definitely want your team banners ready for picture day. They're super fun to have in your team picture. You hold it up in the background with coaches in there and players in there, and your super cool team banner. Some people get really creative with those banners. They're awesome to see, and the kids definitely love them. Do keep in mind, coaches, that banners are optional. There's no requirements for them at all. But if you are going to get one, you have to figure out how it's going to be paid for. Most of the time, you ask for $5 or $10 per parent, and that covers the whole banner. It's real easy. But more information on banners to come. Oh, let me go back one. When you do get your binders with your roster and all your safety sheets, which I think are going to be handed out at the meet and greet. Is that right, Jaime?
Yeah. So, yep.
We do give you some flyers. So we give you banner companies in there. We give you leads to banner companies that you are more than welcome to use, or find someone else or use your own. Most of them have a pretty good turnaround, 1 to 2 days. So you're not going to be left high and dry even when it comes to finding a banner. All right, now we'll go. All right, Mr. Jaime.
All right. Hey, everybody. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Jaime Bencia. I am the current regional commissioner of 1463. Thanks again for being here. We're super excited that you guys are out here coaching. Yeah, so as far as myself, real fast, I've been involved with AYSO for over 10 years now. I've been the regional commissioner for, this is actually my 6th year currently. And it's been a lot of fun working with some amazing people. We came from a situation, I think we alluded to it earlier, but we came from a situation about 7 or 8 years ago where things were a little rough with the region. And then the great news is that we found people like Carlos and Steve and Omar and Josh and Jim, and they volunteered to help out, and they ended up making this an incredible region to be a part of. So we're happy you guys are here, and we hope you guys feel the same way. So on that note, I am going to go ahead and talk a little bit about the EPIC program and the schoolyard program. So feel free, Josh. All right, so EPIC program, for those of you who may have heard of the former version of this, it used to be called the VIP program. EPIC actually stands for Everyone Plays in Our Community. And it is specially designed for players with special needs. It's for special needs players. And it's an incredible experience that has been going on for several years at AYSO. We adopted it here at 1463, maybe a good 5-6 years ago, maybe a little bit longer. But in the last few years, our coordinator, Shauna Glicker, has done an outstanding job of just creating, a really fun program for a lot of these kids. And by the way, speaking of which, I say the word kids, the EPIC program actually isn't specific to children. It is actually anyone with special needs of any age, right? So it could be a child from like 6, 7 up until a grown person, right? So it's an amazing way for this community to get together and learn about the game of soccer. So real quick notes, equipment, as far as that's concerned, some shin guards are required, some soccer cleats. I won't go into too much detail because the reality is we only have one coach, which is Shauna, so I won't go into too much detail, but we are going to have some volunteers, or are in need of some volunteers. So if anybody out there, as far as coaches, or even talk to your parents as well, if any of you have children that are of high school age, feel free to let them know that if they want to help out the EPIC program as EPIC buddies, they absolutely can, and they will get credit for it as well. So that would be an amazing opportunity for them to get involved. And then real quick, just some bullet points. Again, I won't go too long on it, but the season for this group will start on March 15th, and it'll end on May 10th. There's going to be a total of 8 sessions. There aren't going to be any practices. So for anybody who's kind of curious about this program, it really is a total of 8 sessions on those Fridays. So there are no practices, and it's going to be happening at Torrey Pines, just like everything else. So, an incredible program. We're excited that it's coming back again this season. And if anybody has any questions on it all, please feel free to contact Shauna Glicker. Her email's there. We're going to provide you this deck and information later on the website. I'm sure Josh will send it your guys' way as well. But feel free to contact Shauna if you guys have any questions. Moving on.
There we go.
Perfect. Then we got the schoolyard program. So that is the very first program for our little ones, right? And that's where some of you guys out there as coaches will more than likely get involved, especially obviously if you guys have children of that age, right? Of about 5 years old. So as far as schoolyard goes, it is considered group session play, right? So that's where at this age, it's a little tough for these children to necessarily get involved in an organized game of soccer, right? I mean, to be frank with you guys, I remember a couple of years ago when I got a chance to be a coach on schoolyard, and I'll be honest, it was quite possibly one of the toughest coaching experiences out there. And by the way, maybe I shouldn't have said that because now I'm gonna put the fear in some of you guys out there. But the good news is, as far as coaches of schoolyard, back then I was by myself. Now, if you're a schoolyard coach, we're actually going to be incorporating, or we have incorporated, a group called UK International. And what ends up happening is we will bring one person from UK International, and they will be the master coach. And they will work with about 5, 6, 7 different coaches, maybe 8 coaches. And they will give you as a coach instructions on what you need to do and what you should be teaching the schoolyard players. So that way, you guys, if you're a brand new coach, you are going to have a ton of people around you working with you, and you're going to have a master coach that's going to be helping you all throughout the sessions, right? So it's going to be a lot of fun. The focus is all about little, like hopping, skipping, jumping, running, throwing, all little things that kind of help keep it fun for the kids, but start showing them the fundamentals of soccer and helping them kind of fall in love with it. Real quick, as far as the bullet points of the program, this is also a situation where there aren't going to be practices, coaches. So it's going to be sessions occur every single Saturday. It always occurs in the mornings. There's usually 2 sessions. Usually it's an 8 to 9 session or a 9 to 10 session, right? It's going to be happening at Torrey Pines Park. It's going to be starting March 16th. It's going to be ending May 8th. 8 sessions total, 45 minutes long. And as a heads up to you guys, coaches, one quick little last thing for you guys. A good chunk of that session will be these group play activities, right? But usually we'd like to take the last 10 minutes, maybe 15, to try and do a little scrimmage at the very end to give them a chance to play a game of soccer. Plus, it's fun for the parents as well. So schoolyard is always a blast. If you're a coach out there and have any questions, Wendy Boylan, you can see her information at the bottom of the slide. She's been our coordinator for a while now. Feel free to contact her. She will have a ton of information for you. She'll be able to answer whatever questions you got. But that is the schoolyard program in a nutshell. Oh, well, I guess I already kind of talked about this one, but I'll, real quick, UK International, great group of coaches. They're coaches from all over the world, and no joke, a lot of them do come from the UK, and they spend time over here for a few months training. And these coaches are fantastic. One of them, his name is Coach Carl, who I believe will be back next season. Amazing coach that everybody loves, the kids love, the coaches love, and he should be back next season again, coaches. So you guys are going to be in great hands. And for now, that's it for me.
Cool beans. Back to me, Josh Schwartz, coach admin. Back again. Let's keep on moving. All right, we'll talk about some the 6U division. So this is really the platform that encourages players to explore, experiment, and participate with and without the ball. It's the time for exploration, really. It's 5v5 with no goalkeeper. Coaches act as the referees, kind of unofficially. No official referees on 6U. Games are always on Saturdays, once a week practices. March 16th, our games will start. May 11th, games will end. And all 6U players should have a size 3 soccer ball. And I know we mentioned Alex Goodwin's name earlier. Alex Goodwin is the 6U division coordinator. He's been with us for quite a while. He's an amazing volunteer. Make sure you reach out to him, 6U coaches, if you have any questions. 8U, 10U, and 12 divisions have a lot of shared information. All the games are going to be on Saturdays, also starting March 16th and May 11th. possibility a 9th weekend, because you're all going to qualify for the Gem of the Valley Cup. So shouldn't even put possibility there. There's going to be a 9th weekend because you're all going to get your volunteer points. So 8U divisions, we really start focusing on quality training, giving them those good habits, building that foundation for soccer development. Okay. In the 10U division, it's really the golden age for learning. This is where they're that sponge. You can start focusing on specific techniques and skills, and making an adventure for them because they're having the time of their life. 12U, continue that player development in a fun, slightly competitive environment. Remember, it's not about winning, it's about development, in all age groups. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on these slides. Like I said, everything is very similar between the 8U, 10U, and 12U divisions. 8U has no goalkeepers and no offside, and you do need a certified referee like Steve talked about for 8U matches. 8U also uses a size 3 soccer ball, and we do have a brand new 8U division coordinator, Mr. Kai Kirk. So thank you, Kai, if you're on this call, for stepping up. So this is his information. We're going to support you, Kai, and all of your parents and your 8U coaches as much as you need. So 8U coaches, write Kai's information down, and that's who you talk to. We did implement a build outline in the 8U division. I'm not going to go over it too much on this video. There's a couple of bullet points there on the right that you guys can kind of read over. But what I will do is I will send all of you coaches a quick, I think it's like a 3 or 4 minute video. It explains the build outline very simply, very clearly. I'll email that to you guys out probably tonight after this meeting is over. 10U, same thing. It is the first age group where you do have goalkeepers. Okay. You do have goalkeepers in 10U for the first time. And this is a full 3-person crew to officiate the 10U games. And this is where you step up to a size 4 soccer ball. Okay. So 6 or 8U and below a size 3 soccer ball, 10U and 12U a size 4 soccer ball. There we go. We're in need of a 10U division coordinator for now. So keep that in mind, coaches. This is the build outline for 10U. Same thing. I'm not going to go over it a ton, but I will send out the video. I'll send you out a build outline video and an offside video. So all of you can watch that video. Videos are really well done. They're very clear to understand. And one thing, coaches, 8U and 10U coaches, the video isn't just for you. When I send that out, I want you to obviously watch it, familiarize yourself with it, but it's very, very important that you send those videos out to your parents as well. They need to understand the build outline, the offside law, just as much as you do. It'll stop a lot of heartache and potential issues on the sideline from your parents if they actually understand what they're watching. So keep that in mind. 12U games. There's some goalkeeper time play restrictions. You can't put a player in the goal for all 4 quarters. If and when you do have a goalkeeper that does play 3 quarters in the goal, they have to play one of the 4 quarters on the field. Given your number of players on your roster, coaches, this will probably never ever happen. Unless you're really short on players, then it's possible. But your goalkeeper cannot play more than 3 quarters in the goal at 12U division. If they do play 3 quarters in the goal, a 4th quarter has to play on the field. Okay. No headers allowed in 12U below at all. And also 12U is a size 4 soccer ball. We do need a 12U division coordinator. So 12U parents and coaches, if you have any questions or anything in the time being, feel free to reach out to myself. I'll get you the answers that you need and the information that you need. 14U and 16U. So you get a little bit longer games for each one. When you get into these upper divisions, there are no goalkeeping restrictions. This is where, positions should start being taught and enforced. This is where the players, start really hey, I'm a defender, coach. I want to play defense, or I'm an attacker. Or hopefully, if you're lucky, you get people that say, I'm a goalkeeper, because goalkeepers are pretty rare. Um, in the 14U division, headers are allowed, unless in the rare instance, it does happen from time to time. We have really skilled 12U aged players that play up so they can have more of a competitive challenge. In that instance, even if you're on a 14U team, that 12U aged player is not allowed to use headers. For 14U, substitutions only allowed quarter breaks and halftime or injuries. And then 16U division, really the big difference is a little bit longer games and you get free substitutions a lot at 16U. The game is played as two 40-minute halves as opposed to 4 quarters. Okay, and 14U and up is where you go to a full size 5 soccer ball. They're going to have games in surrounding regions, and those regions will be also coming to us for our home games. And our 16U, 19U co-ed program. This is new for this season. There's some differences between the standard 19U play. So it's going to be 40-minute halves, just like the 16U. We're doing 9v9 on the field. That's actually going to help players get more playing time and more touches on the ball. 15 players on the roster maximum, and you get 1 practice per week for 90 minutes. Start date and end date is TBA. Everything's getting ironed out. We have to work with all the other regions participating in this program and get everyone on the same page. So we're waiting on that. We'll get that information soon. Also a size 5 soccer ball, excuse me. And we do need a division coordinator. So I know I've already got 30 emails from all of you coaches saying, I'll be a division coordinator, don't I? I know I do. Jaime touched on the UKI program. Not only are they running the schoolyard, but UKI has just been an amazing program. And all of the feedback we've gotten from our coaches in past seasons has been really good about this program. It's awesome. So what they're going to do is they provide our coaches with clinics throughout the season. They're basically there to kind of help coach our coaches be even better coaches. What happens is we'll have dates and locations assigned, and in lieu of one of your regular practices, you would go to this UKI program, and you tell the UKI coach, hey, this is what I want my team to work on. And that UKI coach will build a practice session based on your input, and kind of run your team through it and help you run your team through it. So he can coach you how to coach whatever maybe you're struggling with, or maybe your team is struggling with, maybe give you different lingo, different insight, and run your team through a solid practice session based on whatever theme you want them to do. So head coaches, take advantage, sign your teams up. The information will come out on this when it's available. And they also, yeah, the seminars, that's what I said. So Monday, they're going to have player skills clinics. And Wednesdays and Thursdays will be the coach training sessions. Okay, so
Real quick,
go ahead,
Josh,
sorry.
I'm so sorry to interrupt, man. So real fast, this is actually hot off the presses. Just as a heads up to everybody, the player skills clinics, which by the way, as coaches, you should definitely talk to your players and your parents about getting them out there. It got changed to Tuesdays, and that's my fault, Josh. I didn't get a chance to kind of give you a heads up. But player skills clinics are happening on Tuesdays, and coach trainings are still happening on Wednesdays and Thursdays. So just FYI, everybody. Sorry, Josh.
Oh, that's okay. So the UKI program, more information will come out on this, like I said, but definitely coaches take advantage of it, especially if you're a newer coach. But even our returning senior experienced coaches take advantage of this. It's a really, really great program, a really great tool that we have here. So we touched on the Game Changer Team app. This is the way to go for sure. I've used a lot of different team apps in the past. I don't know if somebody will make one better than Game Changer. So don't even shop around. Just go with the Game Changer app. It's the way to do it. Um, Coaches, parents, and players, if they have phones, can view everything, including practices, games, whatever. You can send messages. And the one really cool thing about this app is you can share the exciting moments with photos, and you can actually live stream your games with this app. So you can have a parent on the sideline. All they do is hit, record or stream game, and then aunt and uncle out in New York or grandma and grandpa in Florida can watch your kids' games live. It's pretty amazing. So no other sports apps can do that that I know of, anyways. So coaches, this is where you want to get your parents to support on game day. If you're some of the first games on Saturdays, this is some of the responsibilities that you're going to be tasked with. Obviously, you're going to check, make sure the goals are on the field, properly positioned, and the nets are in place properly. Put the sandbags on the back of the goal. We've had gopher problems in the past, pretty bad. It's been kind of mitigated for the most part in recent seasons, but they do still exist. So we have to make sure the field of play is safe for the players. So kind of ask a few players to walk the field, or parents, excuse me, to walk the field. If they find any safety concerns, such as gopher holes or ant hills or something like that, it needs to be remedied, obviously, before we throw our kids and have them start playing. If you're the final game on your field for that day, Saturdays, we're gonna ask you to put the goals away, put all the other equipment away, and obviously want to pick up trash around the field so we don't leave a mess. And that is me. There's my information. Remember, coaches, your division coordinators are there to help you. So reach out to them if you have any questions. You can always reach out to me. I won't ignore you or shoo you away or anything like that. So feel free to reach out to me if you think it's necessary, but please try and communicate with your division coordinators first. That's me. You just go to our volunteer tab and hit the coach portal, and it'll take you here. This is what the page looks like. Here's all your coaching staff on the right-hand side, and then a whole bunch of coaching tools and information down below, and even more if you scroll down. So that's that. And competitive programs, back to Mr. Carlos Torres.
Okay, hey guys, it's me again, Carlos Torres. I'm also the competitive play coordinator. So in our region, we do have competitive levels. So there obviously is a normal core level that we have in the fall and the spring, but then we also have two special programs. The first one is the Spring Select that only occurs in the spring season. Actually, never mind. Let's start with the extra program. The extra program, actually, the extra program is a club level like program for AYSO. So I always consider it to be a club level experience, but at an AYSO price, right? So it's definitely a lot less expensive, but not less competitive because it is super highly competitive, right? So this is program is designed for players that want to take it to another level, extreme high level of competition, right? So it also requires the parents to be as committed to the program as the players. So it can't just be the players like to love to play soccer. It also needs to be the parents are super involved, right? So now, in order to have this program, though, because still AYSO is a 100% volunteer organization, the coach has to come from our region, right? And that coach would have to apply. So one of you guys, if you decided to wanted to do the extra program, you would have to apply, submit an application sometime before the end of this season, actually, the spring season. We would consider you to be an extra coach for the fall season. The extra season is a year-long kind of process. It's a 10 to 11 months season. So it would actually be from the fall to the end of spring, right? So it would start early August and it would end possibly around June, middle of June. So it is a year-long program, again, similar to club, right? So we will be doing extra tryouts for the kids, right? So if your kids are would like to take it, come to a tryout, we'll be announcing those pretty soon. But again, the extra program is designed for that kid that has that extra desire to play at a club-like experience. Go ahead and Move on. Now we also have another level, right? So we have the core level, and then we have the spring select level, which is actually only allowed in the spring. The spring select level is actually interesting. The coach has to be, again, has to be approved by the executive board. You submit an application before the end of the fall season, right? And then once that coach is approved, in the spring, like the name actually says it, the coach, once approved, would be able to pick their own players. So the difference, and I'm sorry I didn't mention this earlier, in the extra program there has to be tryouts for it, meaning players come try out, and there's a committee of evaluators that would evaluate the players in the extra tryout, and then those players would be selected by the committee. In the spring select, once the coach is approved, that coach could then go around as long as there's players that played in the previous season, which would have been the fall season. They can pick their own players and form their own team. So essentially, be kind of like an all-star team formed of the players from the previous season, right? So that's the way that works. And that actually, we're in that program in that season now. We do have two spring select teams that were formed, one for 10U and one for 12U. And I think actually this happens to be the 12U team, right? Is that correct, Josh? I
Yep.
think so, yeah. That's the 12U team that was formed for select and stuff, whatever. So that season starts roughly around February 26th. And then it would end at the end of the spring season, which is roughly right around June or July. They could actually continue a little further if they wanted to do tournaments and stuff. So again, so we have two competitive programs. We have the extra program that is a year-long program. It's club level at an AYSO price, much, a third of the cost, if that. And then we also have the spring select level, which is only in the spring season, and it has to be made up from players that played in the previous season. Both these programs require volunteer coaches. Both these programs require that the coach is first approved, that they apply, and then approved by a region, the executive board members, and then they would be able to start through the process. If you guys have any questions about this or interested in this, either your kids or players on your team that happen, feel free to reach out to me. I can give them all the details and information. It is also on our website. If you go to the programs tab in our website, it'll list out all the programs we have. It'll have the extra program, and it'll also have the Spring Select program. And all the details I just gave you so quickly will also be on there for you to be able to read them a little bit better. And I think that's it.
Yep. There you go.
Yep.
All right, looks like it's me again. So additional info, so just some FYIs for you as coaches and for your parents. So feel free to keep going, Josh. So real quick, this was actually kind of touched on, so I'll try to kind of quickly go through this. As far as equipment goes for your players, make sure your parents are aware that as far as soccer balls go, 8U and below, it's a size 3 ball, 10U to 12U, it's a size 4 ball, 14U and above, size 5 ball. We've said this a few times, but it's insanely important. If you guys lived in Temecula, Murrieta, Menifee, all this area, you guys know how hot it gets. So one of the things that we always struggle with is a lot of times the kids will come maybe with one bottle of water and then all of a sudden they're hurting the rest of the day. So please make sure to remind your parents that they need to bring as much water as possible. It's super important. A few bullet points as far as some things that you guys as coaches and should be aware of and should make the parents aware of as well, things that are not allowed. So no jewelry, right? No earrings, no watches, no necklaces are allowed. Now, keep in mind the referees are trained to look for these things, but it might be best for you guys as coaches to kind of proactively or preemptively kind of give a heads up to the parents. Medical alert bracelets are the only exception to that. So if they are wearing medical alert bracelets, those should be fine. No sunglasses are allowed unless they're prescription, right? And that's something else that the referees will more than likely ask if they happen to be wearing glasses. So no sunglasses unless prescription. No casts or splints, even if they're padded, even if you kind of start adding a bunch of, pads on there to kind of, buff it out a little bit, even if it's been cleared by a doctor, unfortunately, if there's anything hard on those casts or splints in any kind of way whatsoever, you run the risk of a safety concern there. So no casts or splints of any type. If it's a soft brace, those are okay, but sometimes those soft braces do have some metal inserts on occasion. So if they happen to have any metal inserts of any kind, chances are pretty high that the referee will not allow those players to play. But if they just have soft braces and they do not have metal inserts, they should be okay. No wearing of hats while out there playing, whether it be practices or games. No baseball hats, for example. A lot of times the brim of the hat is really kind of hard and rough. If they happen to fall down, another kid falls on top of them, it could get a little messy. So absolutely no baseball hats. Soft knit caps are okay, especially for the younger players. We know a lot of times, or on occasion, it tends to get a little cold. So knit caps should be fine. Big time in in red. I know this is going to be a little bit of a bummer, and it's almost like why not? But this is actually an AYSO national rule. It's not a 1463 rule. Basically, no radios and no noisemakers. For example, a lot of times people will bring some noisemakers every single time their child scores a goal or something to that effect. Look, I don't know the history of why or why not, but if I were to take a guess, I'm thinking like back in the day, maybe parents are starting to use the noisemakers, and then at some point, the other side would try to get even louder, and then all of a sudden people's feelings got hurt and it got interesting. So do us a favor. If we happen to see any noisemakers, we'll let you know, but please make sure not to bring them onto the field. Go ahead and move on, Josh.
Perfect. Yeah, real quick to
Oh,
add
yeah.
on that, with the not allowed, that is not just during games, coaches. That is during practices too. Jewelry is just as dangerous during a game as it is during a practice. Same thing with sunglasses or hard casts or splints or any of the stuff mentioned there. Um, so that's practices and games. Keep that in mind.
Great call out, Josh. And if anything, it makes me think of something else that I actually did mention a second ago, and that goes for shin guards as well, right?
Oh, yes.
So a lot of times, we've noticed that sometimes the players during practice time will not show up with shin guards. Coaches, it's really a responsibility to make sure each and every one of those players are wearing shin guards. That is a major requirement with AYSO. So if they're not wearing them, they cannot practice, and they definitely cannot play the game. So be aware of that as well.
Okay, sorry, I was jotting down notes on it. I'll probably take this next slide and then I'll throw it back to you. Okay,
Sure.
so equipment distribution. I know several of you coaches have already asked me, "Hey, I don't have any stuff. Do I need to go buy it or what?" No, you don't. And so this is for new coaches. It's essentially for new coaches only. I'll give you a nice little starter kit. A couple of soccer balls, a ball pump, a little mesh bag to carry everything, and a set of 10 or 12 tall triangle cones and 10 or 12 disc cones. So it's a great little starter set. If you want more or need more for whatever reason, just talk to me. And if I have it, I'll give it to you. If not, then it might be something you have to go buy on your own. But this should be more than enough to get you going for the start of your season. And if you are a returning coach and you need any equipment, same thing. Just let me know. We'll go from there. For the schoolyard and epic programs, you coaches don't need to worry about equipment. Everything is provided for you at the field on either your Fridays or Saturdays, depending on what program you're in. I will be communicating with you all soon once I get all the equipment that I've ordered, and obviously before the season starts to pass this equipment out to you. What I'll do is I'll give you my address and I'll set, a couple hour window or whatever to come to my house and pick up all the stuff you need and then be on your way with all your new stuff. Cool beans.
Awesome. Real quick. One quick thing that I do want to, one of our board members on the side just kind of called something out that maybe we should briefly talk about. Steve, I know you just talked about this during the referee meeting, but for the coaches, do you mind giving a quick little update as far as braids?
Oh, braids and beads. Beads more importantly.
Mm-hmm.
So, beads in hair can be deemed is okay as long as those beads are close to the player's head. If there are long braids and the beads are at the end of those braids, the braids either need to be bunched up and held tight to the head or tucked into their jersey so that they don't pose a risk to themselves or other players should those bees go flying around as they're running and performing their soccer moves on the field.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it, Steve. Okay, moving on. Just a few more notes on my end. So just a heads up as far as where our games are played and many of our practices are played. So it's played at Torrey Pines Park. For those of you returning, you absolutely know where that's at. For those of you who are brand new and may not have gotten the chance to head over to that field, it's right next door to Warm Springs Middle School. So if you were to actually type that up in Google Maps, you'd be able to find it fairly quickly. So it's right next door to that, but the entrance to it is actually via Torrey Pines Park. So be aware of that as well. Practice fields, and I know maybe Josh might go into this in a little bit more detail, or maybe in the future. We have several. So we have Torrey Pines Park, which I just talked about a second ago. We have some practice space at Dorothy McElhenney Middle School as well, Chavella Middle School, Vintage Reserve, and various other surrounding parks. So that is something that I am positive Josh and or Carlos will provide you guys more information on in the future. So heads up on that. Um, One quick note, coaches, to make you aware of, and maybe if you don't mind letting your parents know as well, we definitely will let them know as well. In the parking lot itself, if you're looking at the slide, there are two spots that are the closest to the open gate. We tend to keep cones on those spots. We tend to keep those open. Super important. And the reason why, there's a couple of reasons. If anything goes wrong and we need emergency vehicles to go onto the field, we need those to be completely free and clear, right? And if anybody else is parked in those spots, we're not going to have any idea who that is, or we're going to have to take a whole lot of time searching and screaming people's names. So that's going to be tough. And on top of that, from time to time, almost every week, we tend to have vendors on the field, right? Just food vendors, whatever the case. So we need those spots to be free and clear. So you as coaches, please be aware of that. And also, if you can let your parents know, that would be incredibly helpful to us as well. Go for it, Josh. Thank you. Awesome. Next up, just a heads up to all you guys, and I know it's like a sea of red in there, but I'll try to explain a little bit. So, spectator seating. Now keep in mind, coaches, this diagram is basically talking to spring select teams, or two spring select teams, our extra teams, in our 14U, 16U, 19U divisions. So heads up on that. Anybody else, whether you're an 8U or 10U or any 6U, anything else, you're okay. You're somewhat exempt from this. You are exempt from this, but this is just spring select, extra teams, 14U, 16U, 19U. So make a long story short, I don't know if you guys can see my mouse. Can you guys see my cursor at all? And that's probably just Josh, huh?
Oh,
Anyway,
yeah. I can curse it here.
well, anyway, so real quick, just so you guys are aware, um, parents and spectators, right? You're going to want to inform them that the only part of the field that they can sit on is basically to next door to the technical area on the opposite side of the assistant referee. So if you see the assistant referee where Josh is pointing at right now, spectators are not allowed to be in that area. They have to go on the opposite side of the field, right? Couple of reasons for that. Number one, obviously, it allows the assistant referees to kind of do their job without any parents or spectators, kind of getting in their way for the most part, which is incredibly helpful, right? Um, and then on top of that, so just a heads up as well, another thing that this is, by the way, this is an area initiative, area 1R initiative. You see the technical area up in the middle on both sides of the screen. That is basically where the coaches and players live. That's where they're situated, right? And what area wants us to make you guys aware of as coaches is to not situate or not allow parents to be sitting behind you, right? Sometimes that can be tough because some of the parents just kind of feel like, they want to be, in the action and they want to be the biggest, couple of concerns there. They're not supposed to sit in those sections. And, number two, there might be times as coaches, guys, where look, maybe there's a player out there who isn't performing very well, or and you might want to talk amongst yourselves, whether you and your assistant coach, and you don't necessarily want to have your parents right behind you hearing you talk about the kids or the scenarios that are going on field, right? So you want to make sure that those parents are only sitting next door to you, right next to the technical area, opposite of the assistant referees. And then one last thing on this slide, we've noticed this from time to time. Please make sure that your parents are aware there are no spectator seating behind the actual goal line, right? So anytime if we're referees, anytime if we're board members and we see spectators hanging out, they're standing, they're sitting, whatever the case may be, we will let them know they need to go move elsewhere. Maybe even move further back, but they need to be away from that area. So that is just a rule on our end. And on top of that, it's kind of important, right? We want to make sure that there's no spectators talking to the kids and trying to coach the kids. That's incredibly important. So please keep that in mind. Next slide.
Right.
Oh, that's you, Josh. Go for it.
I guess so. And Carlos. So practice field reservations. How this is gonna work is you're gonna be sent out basically a practice request form where you're gonna be asked to fill out your number one pick for days and times, and then a number two pick and a number three pick. And with 56 or 57 coaches, we can't have everyone always wanting the same days at the same time. So we have to do it in an organized fashion, and this is how we do it. We send out the email with this form. You fill out the form and send it back. It's time stamped, and essentially it's a first come first serve type thing, where um, we start putting in your name as they come in, and then once there's a conflict, we go into the second pick for practices, and possibly the third pick, excuse me. Coaches with multiple teams, we do have a few take priority. Obviously, if they're taking multiple teams, their schedule is going to take priority for that reason. So please, coaches, be flexible due to limited field space and availability and limited daylight. That really is our Achilles heel for practice times is the lack of daylight until we get time that extra hour back. And to remember that other fields are available. So the majority of you will practice at our Torrey Pines Park fields. That's probably where you want to practice. We have the lined fields there. None of the other parks are lined, but they are grass fields. They're great for doing conditioning or just ball drills or something like that where you don't need field markings. So keep that in mind that those other fields are available, and they might even be closer to your home, so they might be more convenient for you than our home fields. Remember, you cannot practice without your coach binder. Your coach binder will have all your players' medical release forms in it, things like that. So that needs to be on your person anytime you're with your team doing a practice or a game. So one thing I forgot to mention with the equipment, we're also going to send out to you a coach kit request form, or maybe like an equipment request form. That's going to be sent out to you as well. So I have a good idea of the stuff that you need or the stuff that you want. So both of those are going to be coming out. The practice field reservation email will be sent out to everyone this Saturday at 8 a.m. So this Saturday at 8 a.m., you're going to get the email, and we're going to start getting replies at 8:01 and 8:02 and 8:03 and so on and so on. So if you want your first pick of practice days and times, you want to be in front of your computer Saturday, 8 a.m. I will tell all of you that Tuesdays and Thursdays fill up absolutely the fastest. So if you are flexible and can do a Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, that will make fulfilling your request much easier. So keep that in mind. Carlos, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, the only thing I would have to add is, again, like Josh said, everybody pretty much wants to practice at Torrey Pines and Warm Springs, our home fields, but there's a lot of space at Dorothy McAhoney Middle School. That's a school that we have on Mondays and Wednesdays. And there's a lot of room at Chavella Middle School. That's available Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then Vintage Reserve is available Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Those are our main fields that we use. Again, some of these are close to your house anyways. It's probably better for you. And then secondly, you wouldn't have to battle the field lack of field space on our home fields. Just so you know, most of our fields are going to be split up into three sections. At the very least, they'll be split up into two sections, but most fields are split up into three sections. So you only get a third of the field to practice anyways if you go to Torrey Pines, Warm Springs, right? So keep that in mind when you're making your selections. I would scope out those fields. We will send you the addresses of those fields. You don't physically have to drive there, but you can actually Google map it and you can see the satellite view and you can see what we're talking about. But yeah, I would do the homework. We will send it out at 8 a.m. It's scheduled to go out. Every coach, to be fair, will get it at the same time, and then it's first come, first serve.
Perfect. Thank you, Carlos. And then move right along. So some tools and information for you as coaches, especially newer coaches or even brand new coaches. There's just a ton of resources here for you on our website. If you're not sure what to do for practice or how to run a training session for, dribbling or shooting or defense or whatever, they're basically done for you here on our website. So you just click on your age division, and it'll be a slew of already made practice training plans with pictures and writing describing what you should be coaching, what you should be looking for. it's all done for you. Or if you're ever looking for a new idea of what to do, or maybe a new drill or activity, this is a great resource for all of you. Also, the coaching manual that you can find on your AYSO account has a ton of this right in the back of it as well. And they're all fantastic. So those are tools and information for you. And Carlos, this is you.
Sorry about that. So coach's responsibility. So, and we're going to send you reminders. We'll remind you on a regular basis, so don't worry about that. But just wanted to give you a brief description. So every game, 8U and above, so 8U, 10U, 12U, 14U, 16, 19U, has to provide a game referee card to the referee. This is your responsibility to have completed ahead of time. If you look at this game card, that's the front and the back. That's what the game referee card that we use. We provide this on our website, and I'll email it to you. Um, you have to fill out the highlighted blue section of the front section. So if you look at it, you can see it's in blue. Only the blue sections are what's required from the coach to fill out. Okay, so that'll be the team name, team colors, coach's name. We're not going to watch the video, but team name, coach's name, assistant coach's name, and then if you see on there, you have to put the players. It's kind of hard to see. I know it's small, but the players in jersey number order, and then their first and last name. So it does have to be jersey number order and first and last name on the card. So that's all the information you have to provide on the game card. The referee, from that point on, once you hand it to them, they will check you in, do a safety check, make sure your players are all correct, make sure they're all there, and then they will finish out the card and fill out when the kids sit out. Because remember, every kid must play, or every player must play a minimum of 75% of the game before any player can play the entire game. They'll also keep track of who scored the goals and which half, first or second half. And then on the back side, if you look on the back side, you'll see that side right there. Thank you. That's where they're going to rate you on the sportsmanship points. And the sportsmanship points are going to be based on the conduct of the players, the coaches, the spectators, the parents, and the courtesy towards the referees. And then also something I don't know if we've talked about. I'm sorry, the 5-goal rule. One of the things we want in AYSO is to make sure we're good sports, and one of the things about that is making sure we don't blow out a team. We try really, really hard to balance out the teams, but inevitably sometimes we don't accomplish that with every team, and one team may end up being a little more dominant than others. In the event that you happen to be that fortunate, please make sure you're not killing a team. There was an instance many, many seasons ago where we had a coach blow out a team. I think it was like, I don't know, 14-0, right? Nobody enjoys a game at 14-0. That makes absolutely no sense, right? So we instituted a guideline, a policy, whatever you want to call it. It's called the 5-goal rule. Once you get up to 4 or 5 goals, you're supposed to make every effort in the game to try to make it more challenging for your players to score goals. Whether it be you move your defense to offense, or your players have never played, your beginner players have never played, to the front, be the attackers, be the offense, the forwards, the midfielders, whatever. Maybe you institute passing the ball 4 or 5 times before you can even try to score. Maybe institute only shooting with their left foot or their less dominant foot. If they're right-footed, use their left foot. If they're left-footed, use their right foot. Anything you can to try to slow down the scoring and still make it a soccer game, right? So as long as you make an effort, right, the referee will come up to the coach and say, hey, you're already 4 or 5 goals ahead. Please slow it down. If you make an effort, then you won't lose any points. But if you say no, I don't care, I'm going to run it down their throat, I'm going to keep scoring, yeah, you're going to lose sportsmanship points. And remember, you can only lose a few points for the season in order for you not to make the playoffs, right? So if you happen to be that coach and if you happen to lose points, you may cost your team the opportunity to go to our Gem of the Valley event. So again, this is your responsibility to fill out, again, all the highlighted blue section. I even make it easier for you. I'm going to send you an email, a link to click on. You put your players on there for me. You put your jersey numbers on there in order for me, and I will print out the game cards for you on game. People always tell me I'm crazy that I do this for you guys. I will make every game card for you for the entire season. All you have to do is put their number in order, their jersey numbers in order, and their names, and I will print them out for you, and they will be ready for you on game 1 for the entire season. I make it that simple and that easy for you. So all you got to do is pull it out of your binder every week, right? So it's up to you, or you can print your own, whatever you want to do. But I'll make it easy for you. I think that's it. for me.
Yeah, you're nothing short of amazing, Carlos. That no one can argue any different. You are amazing. So real quick, just keep the following in mind. So having a parents meeting is critical. Once you get your roster, um, having a meeting with your parents at the very beginning. A lot of coaches do it at their first practice. Some do it before. But you want to have that parent meeting. It's super critical to let them know they're going to have questions about the season. You're going to have answers for them. Plus, you need to get help. They need to know what they're walking into as far as volunteering. They're going to need to know about tent duty, and they need to know what your expectations are of them as their coach. So a lot of things to talk about in a parent meeting. It's very, very important that you have that to set your expectations to them for the season. Team banners, remember picture day is March 10th. So you want to have your team banners by then. Remember, I mentioned this earlier, banners are optional, but most teams do them. They are a lot of fun. So, but if you are going to do a banner, you want to have it before picture day so it can be part of your picture. The game card that Carlos was just talking about, you want to have it ready before game day. Don't be the coach that showed up without a game card or with a blank game card, and 2 seconds before the game's supposed to start, you're filling it in with a pen. Come prepared. So don't be that coach. And the same thing with your game plan. Have that ready as far as player positions and your substitutions. Have that game plan ready before you show up to the field for your game. Be prepared, basically. We talked about at the very beginning, always support the kids zone. We talked about reserving practice space and times. And we do get a lot of questions about what fields can I use, or can I go practice anywhere if the fields are full? The answer is no, you cannot go practice anywhere. There's a list of authorized fields on our website. Those are the only locations that you're allowed to have practices or any AYSO functions at. All right. And back to you, Jaime.
All right. Gem of the Valley Cup. I know Carlos touched on this earlier, as far as the volunteer points and everybody. So everybody who's been with us for a while now and who's done the volunteer points, I mean, I think you guys know what this is all about. It's a blast. We try to make it a lot of fun. We try to make it an event for all the kids. We bring vendors. We make sure the medals and trophies are awesome. We dress up the entire field as best as we can. We try to go all out as a region, right? And we make it a really, really, really fun event for the kids and for you guys as coaches as well. So just a couple of heads up as far as the Gem of the Valley Cup is concerned. This season, it's going to take place on May 18th and May 19th. That is our current timeline. As Carlos mentioned, eligible teams, which hits their volunteer points, you guys will all be invited to take part, right? So that's going to be a blast. Just as a reminder, it's going to be for 10U and 12U divisions. We might actually incorporate some of the older divisions as well. So that's a little bit TBD. And 14U and up, we will keep you guys posted as far as all that's concerned. But I think I have a pretty good feeling we're going to work something out because we want to make sure you guys have a really good time as well. And for 8U, we're going to make a bit of an event. It's probably going to be somewhat similar to last season, but I think we're still working out some of the details. And I'm sure Carlos will give you guys a heads up, 8U coach as well, maybe the 8U coordinator as well, as far as what the plan is there. But that is still in flux. We're still going to make it a lot of fun for all the kids that are involved. So go ahead and go to the next one, Josh. So yeah, so that's about the Gem of the Valley Cup. And again, even though I kind of briefly touched on it, feel free to let us know if you have any questions. Feel free to contact Carlos, Josh, myself about it. It's going to be a really, really fun time. Next up, we got the region development pins, and we've been doing this for a fairly long time now, and it's actually worked really well. The kids love it. A lot of our coaches and a lot of our staff love it. We've noticed that over the years, the kids will collect the pins, put them on their backpacks, and like they kind of have them as like little trophies on their backpacks, and it works out extremely well, and they're very proud of them. So this season, we're going to debut brand new pins. One of them is the maximum effort pin. So this is obviously for a child. It may be the top scorer, but it may be a child who may not have scored the entire game, but was just like hustling the entire way all the way through, right? We got team spirit pin, and that's going to go for the child that, or the child that's showing the best team spirit, whether it be they're working with their teammates well, or maybe they're helping out the other team a little bit, right? So there's something to do there. And we're going to debut what's called the lockdown defender. I think every single season we get asked, can we make a pin that's specific for not just the best scorers and shooters out there, but maybe for the defender, right? And that's what this one's all about. So we're super excited about these this year. Some bullet points on this. It is going to be from 6U division and up. The children will be awarded one of these 3 recognition pins, and each week the theme will change. So heads up on that, and we'll try our best to kind of give you guys a heads up in our region emails as far as what actual theme it will be. Some caveats, some information for some of you coaches to be aware of. For 6U coaches, what ends up happening with the 6U coaches, you as coaches will select a player on your own team. So you will select a player that you decide has earned this pin, right? But what you're going to have to do, 6U coaches, is you're going to have to keep track of every child that has received one, because what we really want to do is make sure that the 6U players get at least one, right? Get at least one for the season. So be aware of that, 6U. 8U and above, what we're asking our teams to do and our coaches to do is each coach and each team is responsible for checking out the players on the opposite team. So then what ends up happening is the game is over. We all get together in the middle of the field. The referees say, you know, that was an incredible game. Great job. And does the kudos to everybody. And then at some point, each team is going to say a couple of words about one player on the opposite team and reward that player that pin, right? And honestly, for those of you coaches who have never done this before, or for those of you who are brand new, to see the smiles on those kids' faces, you know, for them to light up whenever they see these pins is awesome. We take pictures of them, put them on the website. We make a pretty big deal of it, right? Couple other bullet points for schoolyard, just as a heads up, schoolyard coaches, you might be wondering why don't we get pins, right? What happened? So we actually attempted the first year that we ever did the development pins with schoolyard, and we noticed one reoccurring thing, which was every single time we gave a pin to a schoolyard child, that child was beaming and happy and smiles, and every single other child on that team would be crying and bawling, and it was just a mess. So we made, you know, just a heads up, schoolyard coaches, we decided no pins for you guys. But once you're 6U division, you will see pins again. And I mentioned this a second ago, 6U division, all players have to receive one. So coaches, be aware of that. 8U and above, those pins must be earned. It's not a situation any longer where each kid gets one. It's really whether or not you guys feel the player on the opposite team has earned one of these. The one thing I would absolutely let you guys know as coaches, please, please, please do your best to talk to your teams about this. If it's, for example, the theme is a lockdown defender, please do your best to kind of go with the actual theme. Give it to the actual defender. We've seen in the past where the theme may not have been about scoring, but it was still given to like the best scorer of the team. We just want to make sure that the themes are really kind of in focus here. So that is on the development pins.
Perfect. And just to keep in mind, coaches, when Carlos was talking about pictures of the pin winners, for your volunteer points, 4 action shots and 1 picture of the pin winners, this is what we're talking about. So you take a photo, usually with the coach and the player's holding their pin up and grinning ear to ear, smiling. That's one of the photos that'll get submitted with your 4 action shots.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Josh. Great point.
Yeah.
Oh, and I see
Perfect.
Felicia loves the pins. Thank you, Felicia.
Yeah, they look fantastic. I never had a chance to tell you. Those look amazing, Jaime.
Awesome. I'm glad. I'm super excited for you
Yeah.
guys to see them. So, okay, cool. Is this still me? I think this is me, right, Josh? Pretty sure.
Sure, it
I
can
think
be you.
so. I
You're
think
on a
so.
roll. Let's go.
I'm on a
Yeah,
roll.
let's
Let's do it. All right.
All
Upcoming
right.
events. And by the way, guys, I know it's getting kind of late. We have about 20 minutes of anything. I'll try to go over these as fairly quickly as possible. I know I kind of talk a lot. So, all right. Player coach meet and greet. We'll actually talk about that in a coming slide. So I'm going to go skip that for now. Practices start date. So that's going to be starting the earliest that we can start practice is Monday, February 26th, right? And obviously the specific date is based on your availability and what you guys tell your parents, right? It's all on you and everything that you do with Josh and Carlos as far as like, you know, scheduling practice field reservations, right? But the absolute soonest you can practice is February 26th. We already talked about the location, so I think we're all good to go there. Uniform distribution, information on that's going to be coming soon as far as when that's going to be happening. Basically, what is going to happen is coaches, Christy Nielsen, who is our assistant regional commissioner and does an insane amount for our region, just like a lot of our other board members. She will more than likely be bringing the uniforms to the meet and greet event and provide them to you as coaches for you guys as coaches to then pick a date in the future to get together with your players to coordinate that. Just as a heads up, and I'll mention this now because I know Christy talks about it. If, say, for example, that does end up happening and we give you guys the uniforms at the meet and greet, please, please, please don't give those uniforms out to the players as you see them. What you guys really need to be aware of and need to do is you probably need to wait until your first practice. You need to go ahead and wait until you have all your players lined up together, and you want to put them together from shortest to tallest in a line, right? What ends up happening is the uniforms themselves, if you see the number 2 uniform, that will always be the smallest uniform set. If you go all the way to the other end of the spectrum and you see the biggest number, for example, let's say 11, 12, 13, 14, that is always the largest number in the set. So what you want to do to avoid any conflicts, any issues, is get them all together in a practice, line them up by their size, and then that way you can start giving them out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So as far as uniform distribution is concerned, we will confirm with you whether or not it's happening at meet and greet, but at least for now, that is the plan. Go ahead and next up. Picture Day. Picture Day is going to be happening Sunday, March 10th. Please make sure you guys put that on your schedules right now. As far as the specific schedule is concerned, unfortunately, some of you older coaches know this. A lot of times those come in at the last minute. So we're going to try to get those to you guys as soon as we can. We might try to make it a little bit later in the morning because we know some of you guys have some obligations Sunday mornings. So we'll do the best we can there. But please do whatever you can to make it there. Unfortunately, this season we will have no makeup dates available at all. So you guys as coaches, please be aware of this. Please make sure your parents are fully aware of this. We're going to send region emails about this. There will be no makeup dates. And if you're wondering why, well, for whatever reason, a lot of these picture companies, when it's makeup dates, it's an extreme cost right now. So we're trying our best to make sure we have it all on Sunday, March 10th. So please be aware that that's the day you should be coming. Next up, game schedule. That is going to be one of the last things that we provide you. We try to get it to you as soon as possible, but chances are pretty high it's going to be the week 1 week before the actual first games. Now, if we can get it to you sooner, we absolutely will, but it typically is about 1 week before opening day. Speaking of opening weekend, Epic program is going to be on the 15th, which is a Friday, and everyone else, all core divisions, that's going to be Saturday, March 16th. That is opening day, first games. For 14U coaches up until 19U coaches, it's to be announced. The schedules are actually being worked on as we speak. So, so we might have some more information in the next week or two, but for now, it's TBA. Heads up to you coaches, and please let your parents be aware of this as well. We will be open Easter Saturday, which is March 30th. So games will proceed on that Saturday. So please be aware of that as well. The very next week, we have what's called AYSO Expo, which is this big, it's the big AYSO Expo for Southern California. So not almost, all of the actual Southern Californian AYSO regions and also some of Northern California, they're all going to be closed for that weekend. So nobody in AYSO is going to have any games whatsoever in April 6th. And one of the reasons why we wanted to make sure to have games on Easter Saturday was, to be honest with you, we just did not want to be shut down 2 weekends in a row. That was just going to be too much. So be aware of those dates as well. Put them in your calendars. Next up. Okay, meet and greet. This is a big one. So for those of you who've been around with us for a while, you guys know what this is all about. It is an awesome opportunity for you as coaches to show up. It's going to be held at Carl's Jr. this season. Thank you so much, Carlos, for hooking that up. He is the champion. He is the man. The location is there. It's 28023 Scott Road. It's going to be in Murrieta, and we're going to divide all the various divisions. The times are listed on that image right there, and we'll make sure to send all this information out. For coaches who have never been there before, it is a chance for you to be at a desk. You're going to have your binders. You might be given your uniforms, but again, don't pass them out during that day. But you're going to you're going to get a chance to meet all the kids. You're going to get a chance to meet all the parents. You're going to get a chance to kind of talk to the parents, let them know practice days, practice times, your expectations, whatever the case may be, you're going to have a chance to say hello to all your parents, and they're going to get a chance to say hello to you. We make it kind of fun. We'll have balloons. We're going to be passing out a bunch of AYSO related stickers. We'll have stuff for sale as far as soccer balls and sweatshirts. So we make a little bit of an event out of it. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be on Saturday, February 24th. So please, coaches, take a look at your times. Make sure you try your absolute best to make it on that day. If for whatever reason you cannot, make it that day, please let Josh and Carlos know as soon as possible, and we'll kind of figure out something. But I would highly, highly, highly recommend that you get there. A lot of our teams are really disappointed when their coaches aren't there. Not that I'm trying to give you a guilt trip, but it would be incredible for you guys to be there. So please be there.
For sure. The two biggest questions you get at the meet and greet are, number one, when's practices, and number two, what kind of equipment do I need to get for my kid? So obviously all the kids need shin guards, know what size soccer ball to tell your parents to buy, and definitely cleats are highly recommended. So
Absolutely. Thank you,
all
sir.
right, yes.
Oh, final notes. Yeah, we are almost done. I definitely promise. All right, let's keep moving. Okay, spring and summer UKI camp. So this just came online in the last week or so, everybody. This is for coaches, this is for players, board members, everybody. So like I mentioned before, UKI is an amazing group of coaches. UKI is an amazing organization itself. They're going to have a spring soccer camp from April 1st to 5th, and they're going to have 5 different summer camps for us in Marietta as well. So right now, this week, coaches, and I'm going to mention this to the parents, and I think I even sent an email and social media earlier today. This week only, they're basically giving a coupon for $25 off these soccer camps. These soccer camps are amazing. I've sent my kids to them. They had a lot of fun. So if you want to save $25 this week, you can do so by signing up before February 18th. And that $25 is for all of those camps. So it's for spring and all the summer camps. So please do that this week. If you have any questions, you can try to come to us. We will definitely try to help you as much as we can. But if they're very specific, only the people at UK Soccer can help you out. So take a look at the email there. We'll make sure to send you that information later, but definitely email UK Soccer and they will help you out as much as possible. Next up. Eden fundraisers, we will try to, as you guys know, we are a 100% volunteer organization. I know Carlos mentioned it, Josh mentioned it. None of us get paid, right? And nobody in our region gets paid. A lot of times, when we ask for registration fees, it really covers. I mean, we try to keep it as low as we possibly can, right? So in order to kind of offset some of this, in order to kind of give us a little bit more funding for more equipment and field maintenance, anything else we can think of, we might send you guys, not just you guys, everybody in the region, a heads up that we are going to have on a particular night. We're going to focus on Carl's Jr. this week, and everybody go to Carl's Jr. and 20% of all the revenue, or I'm sorry, of the purchases will go back to the region, something to that effect. So don't be surprised if we send those out. We would just ask that you guys as coaches, please do your best to kind of help us out with that. Maybe get the word out to your parents. It would mean a lot to the region. Next up. Sponsorship, man, I made that a wordy slide. I gotta do something about that next time. So sponsorships, if any of you know of anybody who wants to be a sponsor, or you yourself, if you have a company and you want to sponsor AYSO 1463 as a whole, you absolutely can. We have had several sponsors sign up this past year, and all of them so far have been happy, from Panera and Shakey's and Dick's Sporting Goods, several Carl's Jr., several of our sponsors out there who have basically been really big, friends of our region. And it helps, right? It helps us out, obviously, financially, to kind of help with equipment and everything else. But then what we end up doing for you guys in return is we end up every single month getting the word out for you guys. We send out social media blasts. Right now on Instagram, if you go to our Instagram account, you will notice that at the very top of the page, there is a button for each and every one of our sponsors. So you can click on them, see links, see advertisements, all that good stuff. So if you or anybody you know is interested in sponsoring our region, absolutely let us know. We will be more than happy to talk to you about that. Next up, soccer.com fanware, excuse me. So soccer.com does an outstanding job with their fanware. If you go to our website now, You could actually follow that bit.ly link that's on this page right now. But if you actually go to our website on the lower right, there is actually a link for our fanware that'll take you to the exact same spot, and you can purchase a lot of this clothing. So it'll usually come in purple, blue, and gray. That tends to be our region colors for the most part. But they give you all of these different customizable options that you can do, like, and you could kind of see it in the picture, right? Stay in the game, soccer, AYSO logos. So that way you can get them for yourselves, you can get them for your team, you can get them for whoever. And again, it serves as a fundraiser for the AYSO region. A little bit of that funding comes back to us once you guys purchase. So it helps us, and it helps you kind of dress up your players and dress up yourself, right? The only quick caveat, and I know it's red there, it does take, soccer.com does take a little bit to get to you. So I would highly recommend that if you're going to order something before the opening day, definitely do it about 2 to 3 weeks prior to then. But absolutely check that site out. Kids and adult sizes are available. So please check out soccer.com. Real quick, just want to let you guys know that there is a Dick's Sporting Goods coupon available, and this coupon that you're looking at right now is available all year long for 2024. So if at any point you, as coaches or your parents, and we're going to talk to the parents about this at parent orientation, if they want to use this coupon, they can. It is always going to be available on the spring season website, which you can kind of see a picture of on the left-hand side there. It will always be available on that same spot, and that coupon works all year long. So feel free to take advantage of that coupon whenever you like. So just heads up for you guys as coaches. Next up. Social media sites, super important if you haven't done so already, guys. If you haven't noticed, if you guys have joined us, we end up sending a lot of info. It's really important for Carlos, Josh, myself, everybody, Steve, Mauro, to kind of get the word out on all the news that's happening. Carlos and Josh do an amazing job with emails and texts. That's how they get a lot of their communication out. On our end, on my end, that's where I do a lot of the Facebook posts, Instagram posts, some YouTube. YouTube is mostly for a lot of the videos. Actually, it's going to be this right here that we're doing right now. This is going to go up on YouTube, right? So if you ever want to go back and relive this entire 2-hour extravaganza, you absolutely can. You can definitely do so. So highly recommended. Please make sure to sign up to Facebook. Please make sure to sign up to Instagram and bookmark our AYSO 1463 website, because all of our info gets updated regularly. I mean, at least every other day at this point. So. All right, next up. And there is some contact information. Again, this is all available on our website. So if you ever feel the need to contact any of us, please do so. I would highly recommend, as coaches, and maybe inform your parents as well, and we'll definitely tell the parents, to please try and kind of go through the disciplines of people first, meaning a lot of times, and look, I'm not trying to kind of pass the buck, but a lot of times, I'll get parents emailing me directly as regional commissioner. And then a lot of times I'll say, thank you so much for the email, but really who you want to talk to is the division coordinator, or really who you want to talk to is the referee administrator, or Carlos, who's the volunteer coordinator. So try your best as coaches and inform your parents to try to kind of talk to the specific disciplines first before they actually come up to the regional commissioner. I would highly appreciate it. And I will leave this to you, Josh. That's it for me.
That's it. I'm gonna stop sharing. That way I can have a normal screen. Perfect. So
Oh,
we went to
Josh, I'm so sorry, brother. There was one thing that I kind of mentioned on Slack real quick while we're talking on the side. Did you want to talk about real quick your coach courses that are occurring this Saturday?
Yes, I do.
All
And you know
right.
what? I actually thought about that before we started when we were online early, and throughout the course of this whole excitement, I forgot. So yes, we are doing coach training this Saturday at our Torrey Pines Home Field Park. We're doing 10U and 12U at 8:30 in the morning, 8:30 to 12:30. Usually doesn't go all the way till 12:30, but it always changes depending on the number of coaches we have and several other factors. And then after that, we are doing a 6U, 8U coaching at 1 o'clock. So basically, right after the 10U, 12U. So we have 10U, 12U at 8:30, 6U, 8U at 1. So all of you coaches, come on out if you need the certification. Um, I think we, not to toot my own horn, I think we put on a pretty good course. So
It's a lot of fun, and
especially
I know you say this a lot, Josh, but even if it's not your division, even if you're a coach in like 6U, maybe you said this a second ago, I wasn't paying attention, but you should take it. You should take the course. You will get a tremendous amount out of it. And then on top of that, you will be ahead of the game on your coach certifications, right? Which would be huge.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Especially for your new 6U, 8U coaches. Doing the online course is fine and dandy. But having an in-person course, getting examples of, drills to do and activities to do, being able to ask questions to an actual person before you're doing it with your kids, can be super helpful and really help set you up for success. So 6U, 8U coaches, 10U, 12U coaches, come on out. Yeah, that was it. So Omar, were there any questions in the chat that we need to address?
No, we got them all. We did a pretty good job of staying on top of them, Josh. I did post if there was any that was missed or if there's any that anyone has to go ahead and post it so we could respond to it.
Perfect. I guess if anybody has any verbal questions they want to shout out, hit the little raise hand button and we'll let you unmute. And if you have the question, there's a chance somebody else does too. So now's the time for questions.
Hey, Josh, this is Carlos. Hey, real quick, Steve, you have a referee class coming up this Saturday as well, right? For
I have two.
certification?
I have two. One in the morning, one in the afternoon.
Yeah,
We
so
talked about
plenty-
it during the
Perfect.
session ready.
Yeah, perfect. Just a reminder, coaches, those of you who are 8U and above, so that you complete your referee certification, Steve is doing 2 classes on Saturday. That's amazing, Steve. Great job there. So you have 2 opportunities to get that done.
That's Megan just posted a question in the chat. That's a fantastic question, Megan. She said, should coaches attend the parent Zoom meeting on Thursday? I don't think that that's really necessary. Most of the information is the same. And so if you attended this one, Megan, I think you're good for Thursday. Yeah, great question, by the way. That was awesome. Any other questions? If anybody does have a question, throw it in the chat or use that raised hand button. If not, I'll start saying goodbyes. Thank you all so much for your time tonight. Thank you for listening to us and all that information. And
We
hopefully
have
you got
a
something out of
raised
it.
hand with Carl Johnson.
Yeah, we do.
How dare
Oh.
you interrupt Josh when he was, how dare you, Steve? Dare you.
Hey, Carl, how are you? He was at my coach training last week, wasn't you?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. If you don't mind, could you just go over the days of availability for those various fields real quick? Because it sounded like some of them were only available on certain days. Did I get that right?
Our Torrey Pines fields are 5 days a week.
How about the other ones?
The other ones do have day limitations. I don't know them off the top of my head. Excuse me.
Josh, I can answer that question. So Dorothy will be available Monday and Wednesdays, and Shavela will be available Tuesdays and Thursdays. And again, we're going to email this to you anyway, so we'll send an email to make sure
Okay,
ahead of time
perfect.
so you know ahead of time. Yeah, and
Thank
then lastly, Vintage Reserve is available Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. But we will send this information out to you with the addresses, so you can either physically go check them out or just Google satellite them, so you can visually see them on Google Satellite, right? So we do have other satellite locations you can use. Those are, at your own discretion. They're patches of grass, right? That's what they are. It's really what they are.
Okay.
But there could be nobody there, right? And you could be the only one there. So it's up to you.
So you're going to email the instructions for what to do Saturday at 8 a.m.?
Yeah, super simple. It'll just be emailed to you, 8 a.m. Everybody's gonna go out to everybody. First come, first serve. You click on the link, you fill out the form as quickly as possible. First, second, third choice, and it's timestamped once you submit it. So, and that's how we'll do it when we approve the requests.
Thank you.
And you guys are gonna have to be flexible, right? So we are gonna try to do hour block forms because most people practice an hour or are allowed to practice an hour, right? So if you pick like 4:30 to 5:30, that's not gonna work because it eats up 2 hours, right? Because you eat up four to 5 and 5 to 6. So you should really stick to like 4 to 5, 5 to 6, 6 to 7, 7 to 7:45 or whatever. So it's really how you should stick to it. And remember, Torrey Pines is going to be divided mostly into 3 sections per field, if not 2, right? Because we don't have enough availability, so we have to. So I would pick the other ones. I would pick those first if I were you. Go check them out. We'll give you some time. I'll email them tonight so you have the addresses. Like I said, you can check them out tomorrow or tonight on Google Maps or whatever. Any other
Great question.
questions?
Anybody else? I did put a link to our website. It has the whole list and days of availability on our coach portal for practicing game fields. It even has satellite images of them. So if you follow that link, Carl, I just put in the chat, it'll take you right to where you were asking about.
Do me a favor though, Carl. Maybe give me till tonight. I think that's a little outdated, Josh, and that's on me. So I gotta update it tonight based on what the
Oh,
times Carlos just talked about. So I'll do it tonight, and it'll be ready by tomorrow.
oh, perfect. Okay. Perfect. Any other questions?
One from Mark Durham out in the chat about the length of 14U practice.
Yes, 14U and up or 90-minute practices twice a week, unless you're in the 16U, 19U combined division this season. Then you get one practice a week at 90 minutes. So, perfect. All right. Everyone's walking out. Any other questions? Like I was saying, for everyone who's left, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it very, very much. And also for volunteering. I mean, what you're doing is amazing. You're making a huge difference in our kids' lives and in the community. So it's going to be a fun experience for you. I just know it. You're going to fall in love with coaching, and you're going to be here for years and years to come. Jaime, Carlos, Steve, Carl, Omar, anybody got anything?
No, I mean, I think you said it all. Plus, we got to let these guys, let's let them go. But yeah, no, you said it all, Josh. I mean, thank you again for coaching. Thank you again for volunteering, guys. You guys are awesome. So you guys need anything whatsoever, Josh, Carlos, myself, Carl, Steve, everybody, Omar, we're all here for you. So feel free to contact us at any time.
Got it. All righty. Have a good night, everyone.
Thanks,
Thank you,
everybody.
coaches. Thank you, coaches.